had the NSR cylinder modified, took a little bit off the top. In this video we're going to do a port map and also check the squish. Wanted to target 0.55 to 0.6 millimeters on the squish, so we'll just check it out and see where we land. So this is the cylinder I had modified. Took some off the top, not quite a millimeter. So that should help with the port timing. The stock port timing on that cylinder wasn't very aggressive. So it was okay to take some off the top. So here we're making a port map. Cut a piece of paper to fit in the cylinder. Mark the top edge of it. Usually line up the seam between the ports. Usually between the boost port and the transfer ports, and sometimes I use a light to help with that. Then you want to line the top edge of the paper up with the top of the cylinder. Tape everything in place so that it doesn't move around. To outline the port edges, use pencil to get some graphite onto my finger. So you just rub it on a paper and then rub your finger into it. And then use your finger to trace the edges of the port. It's a nice easy way to do it because you can feel the edge of the port with your finger. This doesn't make a very dark line, but later on, after you get the paper out, you can darken the line. So once you have this, you can do your measurements from the top of the paper to get your port height. If I don't use a software to do port analysis, I'll just use a caliper like this or something. So we're at 21 millimeters on the exhaust port height. I think I took about a millimeter off of that cylinder, if I'm not mistaken. And I would say I could stand to go a little bit higher with that exhaust port and probably the transfer ports too. But I think I'll leave it like this for now and run it and see what happens. All right, now we're going to install the cylinder and measure the squish. So install your base gasket of choice. The thickness of this might need to be adjusted to get the squish I want. I'm looking for like 0.55 to 0.6 millimeters. In there. Have to compress the ring when you do this. Alright, so then bring the piston up near top dead center somewhere. And now we're going to use some solder to measure the squish. So I cut a couple of pieces. And put a dab of grease on the piston to hold the solder in place. And I usually just place it across the piston with the end near the edge of the bore so we can measure the squish band thickness. And then just rotate it down away from top dead center a little bit before you put the head on. So I'll go ahead and put the head on. I normally tighten these in a crisscross type pattern. It's pretty common. I'll torque these when I do the final assembly. So now you want to rotate the piston through top dead center. You might have to use a wrench on the rotor or a socket. Then we'll take the head off and measure the thickness of the solder where it was smashed in the squish band. So you can see where the solder is squished down at the edge of the bore in the squish band. So I want to measure the thickness of that. Just wipe the grease off. Be careful not to smash it. It's not super soft, but it's kind of soft. So I'm at 0.58 there. That is sweet. That's right in the zone. That's what I was targeting. Awesome. Check the other side. 0.6, pretty good. Not going to complain about that. Excellent. So now I'll just take the cylinder off and get ready for final assembly on the top end. Next time I'll be putting the top end all back together, getting everything buttoned up, and then fired it up to do a heat cycle. So come back next time and check that out.